Am I going to get cancelled?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. And if it happens,
Let's
we had a run. We had a good run. Hello and welcome back to Dodge, Parry and Roll, your fortnightly Australian independent video game and existential crisis show. I'm your host, Josh Vinnie, joined by, as always, Vinnie Chens. Vinnie, how are you? You good?
I'm feeling good, man. Yeah, I'm feeling really good.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm also good.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's all I'm going to give you.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. I'm glad you're good.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. Firstly, of course, if you're here, if you discovered us somehow, these random Australian people on YouTube, please subscribe to Dodge, Parry and Roll. We are a fortnightly show, so you can find us every second Friday here on YouTube, our home of YouTube. But Vinny, I want to do something a little different because
Yeah?
I don't know why I'm talking like this. I'm doing like a bit of a Donald Trump thing with the hands right now. It's going to be huge. It's, massive podcast. But I want to do something a little different. We usually get through some of the banter, but let's not.
Yeah?
Because I've got nothing interesting to say, and God knows you don't either. So instead, let's just jump into a topic, a fun little topic that you brought to me. And I said,
Yeah.
that sounds great. And that was gaming's biggest mistakes. Let's just go into it. I think we just open it up. I don't think we need a number of how many we're going to do. Let's just pick a few that we think are interesting and exciting to talk about. Something different, you know? I'll let you take the floor on this, Vinny.
All right. And as you know, I'm a big fan of this one. So I think one of the biggest mistakes in the modern gaming industry is the Wii U. So
Bless you.
So this is the Nintendo Wii U, great, good console, is the console before the Switch, but the successor to the Wii. So the Wii selling 100 million units, the Switch selling 100 million units,
Nearly
like,
150,
100 million plus.
150 million.
Yeah, 100
units.
yeah. And then this little shit sandwich in between is the Wii U at 13 million units sold.
Less than the Vita.
Less than the Vita. So it was just, and like we spoke about, because like we were in retail when this thing came out.
Yep.
This thing was so poorly marketed as a console. People always thought it was just an extension. People didn't realize that it was a separate console to the Wii. People thought it was just an additional tablet, and the tablet was an add-on.
Yep.
And so people were like, why am I paying $400 for a controller for a tablet that doesn't do anything to my Wii? And it was just, it was too expensive. The integration for the console was like you had motion control plus this weird third part, like plus this weird tablet that you couldn't take too far away from the console because then you'd lose range.
Yeah.
It was essentially just a streaming device. It was just so bizarre. It was something that almost like ruined Nintendo.
Yeah.
The fact that like Iwata and then like other board members took a pay cut so they could keep the company from having layoffs because they lost that much money on this console. Like that is insane. It was, and that people saw within the first year, like Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, they stopped supporting the console. We got a couple of releases. We got
Zombie U. That was Ubisoft,
we got Zombie
wasn't
U.
it? Yeah. Splinter Cell,
Yeah, we got
Blacklist.
Watch Dogs.
I remember that.
Yeah, we got Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
And
Assassin's Creed 3, wasn't it?
Yeah. And 4. Maybe 4 later.
Well, Black Flag was only on PS4 and Xbox. So I doubt it was running on Wii U. I know definitely. I think what came was Assassin's Creed 3, and you remember when Black Flag launched, there was also a Assassin's Creed game for PS3 and 360 called.
No, Black Flag was on the Wii U.
Oh, it did go on the Wii U. Okay, interesting. So it had games for PS4 on there.
Yeah, but it was already outdated hardware. This thing was just outputting 1080p when other consoles were doing it for 8 years. And even the timing of this was terrible. It came out 2013
12?
13,
13, 12?
I think.
Yeah.
It came out just a year before the PS4 and Xbox One. So, like, since like this was probably one of the first consoles that didn't do Nintendo staggered their lineup. They
2012.
staggered it. Yeah, they staggered it too late. They didn't do that whole midpoint release that they're doing now, where it's going, every 7-8 years you get a PlayStation and Xbox. Every 3 or 4 years you get a Nintendo. That's the good sweet spot that everyone's leaning towards. It's a good marketing strategy because you have that point. You have a mid-tier thing that can support the items before at a lower cost. It's great, but this thing just sucked, and the naming sucked.
The
it
ads
sucked.
suck.
The ads suck. I remember I watched the E3 reveal trailer for the Wii U, or I don't think it was E3. Might have been E3.
Yeah,
but I
would have
watched
been
the
E3.
reveal trailer for the Wii U. It said, "Stream on your new controller, play on your new controller." It didn't even reference that the
new
Wii U
console.
gamepad itself. It referenced the Wii U gamepad as being a new controller as opposed to being a brand new console. Like, so even the intentional marketing towards it was bad, and it just flopped because I think personally it just wasn't advertised well.
Yeah, and it was also the dual skew of the black and the white model, and maybe that caused some confusion too. Like, that was still new at the time to do that.
Yeah, because also the same thing, the white version of the Wii and the black version of the Wii U, they had black and white counterparts on the Wii, so it kind of looked like, and that console looked eerily similar to the Wii.
It did. It just
Nintendo
looked
Wii.
laying flat
it
as
had a
opposed
little,
to usually standing up.
Yeah, it had rounded edges. And this is what I think as well, where it's like consoles have a redesign for a reason, so you can actually tell what one is. A Super Nintendo looks different from a Nintendo 64, looks different from a GameCube, looks very different to a Wii. PlayStations go through all their iterations. I think the most similar being maybe a 3 to a 4, just being in that black.
And even with Switch and Switch 2, but it's literally called Switch 2, so it's it's the one after it. Yeah.
Exactly. You could have called this the Nintendo Wii 2, and it honestly could have sold double.
You could have
just put that name change.
Yeah, look, this is what you do. You call it the Wii 2, and you had the ads be multiplayer focused. And it's like, now with Wii 2, you too can play multiplayer,
Yeah. It was just bad, and I remember having to talk to people in retail, I'm sure you did too, about the whole, no. This is a brand new console.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
You're like, oh, really? You're like, but it says Wii. I thought it was just the Wii U, like Wii Fit. It had just the stand.
No.
You're like, no. That's not it.
No.
But yeah, that's probably that's the one closest to my heart, I think.
Yeah. Interesting
and
time.
it almost, but you know what? Like, what do they say? It's like something breeds innovation.
And would we have gotten the Switch without the Wii U? Like, reasonably?
No.
Probably not.
Because they just made it better. The Switch is what the Wii U should have been. Isolated console, purely
Handheld,
take it anywhere format, combining both the handheld library and the console library. That's what this console should have done. But they just did it a generation too late.
The tech wasn't there. Yeah.
The tech wasn't there, and you know what? Worked out for them now.
Now they're killing it.
Yeah.
We've got a few that are similar on the list. I'm just going to pick one of mine.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back in time. Back to the 70s. before both of us were even born. And that is the Atari 2600, specifically talking about the video game crash of 1983. Apologies, 1983. And two games in particular that were not the singular cause of the crash, but two games that were heavily kind of connected to it. And that is E.T. for the Atari 2600 and Pac-Man. Now, I actually have copies of these games that I purchased whilst we were working in retail. So these are been in my collection since 2012, 13. I think I paid 50 cents each because we were selling Atari games at the time for like $1 or $2. And I specifically picked up these two games for the reason that they were so instrumental in kind of the tipping point that caused the great video game crash of 1983. So for those who don't know, the Atari 2600 was the first kind of home console that allowed for third-party games to be plugged in. So at the time, a lot of the hardware was game dedicated. So you think of systems like the Pong systems or the Magnavox Odyssey, I think it was even one of them as well, where it came with Pong and you played Pong. And there was different consoles you would buy with different iterations of that. The Atari became kind of the first of its kind where it introduced the first third-party publisher, which I actually believe was Activision, funny enough. And what that led to was basically anyone could make a game. And anyone did make a game. You got games made for Burger King. Every brand had an Atari game. So what that led to was a reduction in quality control and games being made in mass with an audience that couldn't really control, who couldn't reasonably play and buy these games. And it resulted in an influx of stock that they couldn't sell. And often it gets spoken about with E.T. and Pac-Man being kind of the tipping point of that. So I don't know if you know much about the story of E.T., specifically that the game came obviously after the Steven Spielberg movie, which is massive.
Yeah.
And that the developer, I think his name was Howard Scott Warshaw, was given 5 weeks to make this game. 5 weeks to develop the E.T. game. So, people expected it to be huge because E.T. was massive at the time.
Yeah, it was, blockbuster.
Reportedly, they had made about 4 to 5 million cartridges. So they really expected this thing to sell. And it did sell. And it launched around Christmas, and kids of 1982 opened up their, Christmas present, excited to get E.T., plugged this thing in, and it sucked. No one knew what to do.
God, it sucked.
It sucks. I've played it before, just out of kind of like, the history of video games, just to try it out, and you really don't know what you're doing. Like, Atari games are obviously they are very basic, but even for that, it was like, what am I doing here? So what that led to was a lot of the games being returned and copies of the games not being sold because not everyone knew this game was bad. So you can imagine these stores holding on to these games, right? Then this led to the mass burial of these games. And it wasn't, a lot of people think it's just the mass burial of E.T., and it wasn't. There was other games buried there as well, including Pac-Man and a few other of those games that they mass-produced that didn't sell. And it became like this story people would tell about this graveyard of E.T. cartridges out of Mexico. Apparently, Atari posted a $536 million loss in 1983, mind you. It's a lot of money. And
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it led to the brand being sold in 1984, so the following year. E.T. became the symbol of the industry's excess and poor quality control. And the reason I kind of picked this as my kind of one is because I remember this would have been maybe 10 years ago. I often talk around 2010 was when I became like cognizant of like the industry at large. So I often say like I've been following the industry for 15, 16 years in detail and been a gamer my entire life. And there was a documentary which I believe had Major Nelson on it from Xbox, funny enough. And it was a documentary on, it was when they dug out the landfill and they did this whole thing when they, spoke to developers, and a lot of the stories came out around what it was like to work at Atari at the time and what led to ultimately the crash. And yeah, it was just like this really captivating story of like this console that at the time was so ahead of its time and was really ushering in what a console would be and still is today. And then the pitfall, no pun intended, of these mass-produced games that sucked, that didn't sell, that ultimately led to the video game crash. And Pac-Man was a similar thing. Pac-Man was this massive arcade game. So, what do? Let's put it on home console. Again, sold well. I think they made roughly 12 million cartridges of it. It sold 7 to 8 of those. But 6 of those got returned. So all of a sudden, again, there's 10 million copies of Pac-Man that no one can sell. So I think it's just a really interesting story, right? And without the Atari and what happened with the crash, that kind of leads us into what Nintendo did, right? Bringing the NES and the Nintendo seal of approval and their laws and regulations around how you can publish games on Nintendo and how many games a publisher can release. It's really like the console wars, but it's kind of like the origins of everything. Well before my time.
It's now the industry standard. Like, there's Nintendo seal of approval. Like, we speak about it now. It's like there's too many games to be played. Like, but back then there was actually every single, like, Tom, Dick, and Harry was making a game for the Atari.
Yeah,
and that's it. And
every
like,
brand.
Piracy was huge. Every brand, everyone could make games.
There was cleaning brands.
Anyone could.
That had Atari games. Like anything. I think the Kool-Aid guy had a brand. Like every brand had an Atari game along with it because you could just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not?
So
and then you said the Nintendo seal of approval, and we spoke about where like Nintendo took a huge, like, people speak about the NES was so slow to sell initially. Because at least in this, like, in the States, no one wanted to pick it up because people were worried.
Yeah, it took time. Nintendo had to earn the trust, right? They had the Japanese, they had Famicom obviously first, so it had success.
Yeah,
but it did take a little bit of time for it to kind of bring everything back.
Yeah, because it was they needed to bring it here, and I think Mattel brought it, the NES, over to the US, but I think I remember reading about where like Mattel took a quote unquote risk with the NES, bringing it over to the US. I think it was Mattel.
Yeah, it was. It was. I can see the Mattel logo on the bottom of the NES.
the little like
circle thing.
Yeah. Like the sun just says Mattel in the middle. Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Like now that obviously I picked this one, that Activision became the first third-party publisher when they broke. So a lot of the guys that were formed Activision worked at Atari and didn't like how they were just making games and not getting any royalties for it. So they broke away, became the first third party. They got sued by Atari. They ultimately won, and that's what opened the floodgates for anyone being allowed to publish games on Atari. And that's what caused everything, And fast forward to 2026, Activision is now owned by Microsoft and now a first party. Like, nuts.
How the turns have tabled.
How the turns have tabled.
Yeah.
But Vinny, I know you had one or two more that you were super passionate about, so I'll let you take the floor back.
Yeah, so this one's probably probably something you could chime in on a little bit as well, but because you're a big fan of this Sony. Okay. And I want to talk about the PSP and Vita. I think
interesting.
Like, we speak about how these consoles they were just always in the shadow of the Nintendo consoles when it comes to handheld. But they were genuinely very good consoles. And we speak about the Vita all the time being like ahead of its time, having the OLED, having the dual sticks, gyro, amazing graphics. But I think the killer of these consoles were the memory cards. I think not having a standard SD card, and I do know the reason why Sony did this. So Sony did this as a way to evade piracy, or it was having your proprietary memory card, allowing for essentially quote unquote less hackability, even though PSP got hacked pretty much day dot.
And that was because the PSP uses a standard SD and became. God, do you remember when we used to get PSPs traded in? The stuff we would find on there.
Yeah, you used to find all kinds of crazy
teenage
shit.
Boys.
Yep. So yeah, so the PSP, but the PSP sold. PSP sold well, and yeah, granted, it
because
was
of
sold well because people used it for other things, but it got people to buy the console, and therefore people then bought the games, and then people had movies, but you had your music library on there, like downloaded whatever you want and just threw it on there. Like the actual items itself were like the console. I thought was actually very successful. Then along comes the Vita. I think it did. Like, granted, I think it did too much.
yeah,
I think the Vita did too much having the OLED screen, the rear, like the
back
camera with
touchpad,
the
front camera,
with the
gyro,
yeah with the touchpad and the gyros. I think it
microphone.
tried to do too much, and that's why it was too expensive. So not only was the price expensive, but also you're paying for an additional quote unquote, like say you're buying like a 12, 16, 32 gigabyte memory card. It was on average, and I looked it up, 3 times the price of a standard SD
They
card.
were very expensive. Very. I remember at the
They were
time
very expensive.
I was young, didn't have much money, and I had the 4 gig one, and I
Yeah.
had to would have to delete things. And even me, as someone who was
Yeah.
like a big fan of the Vita, like for the longest time refused to upgrade. I used to just delete things. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And they used to be like hard to find, or if you'd find them online, they were sold at a premium on top of everything else.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And yeah, that's what I think. Instead of having normal, like I said, cross 3 times the price of a normal SD card, it wasn't readily available, like you said, and especially throughout the life of the console. So and I found this really hard when I got my Vita, which I got my Vita very late. So I got my PS Vita very late into the like
life cycle.
the life of the console, but I could not for the life of me find an SD card.
No.
That was the hardest part because a lot of them they weren't selling, so a lot of places stopped selling them. Even I think I went to EB, like JB didn't sell them. EB, you had to order them in. And this also came at a time where the PlayStation Store was starting to be a real thing. Like, they had a live client, had a store where you could search things, so you needed the memory to download games.
Yeah.
But it was a viable option for the console as a resource to get the games onto your system. But you couldn't do it if you didn't have the memory.
Yeah.
So I think is probably one of the biggest mistakes. That, and it was over-engineered to the shit.
Yeah.
But I think the real killer for me was you already had something at a high price point, but then you're asking people to pay about $100 more just to play what they want on it. And it's different to a game because you're paying a game and you can save it. Yeah, that's fine. But you're paying $100 just to then being able to pay for a game to download.
Yeah.
So you're on top of it.
It was
ridiculous.
It was like nearly good. I mean, I love the Vita, but it was like nearly what it needed to be. It was great form factor. Love the OLED screen, but you're right. Drop the touchpad. Keep the front touch, right? Every kind of tablet device had touch. It's fine. Did I need rear
keep
touch?
the front touch.
Did I need a microphone to blow into?
Did I need the camera?
Do I need the camera? Do I need the gyro? Okay, maybe. Do I need the proprietary memory cards? Definitely not. But it did do some things, I think, well. Like, I think it was really the first introduction of cross-buy, right? It was the buy it on PS3, get it on Vita. I remember doing that with Sly Cooper 4, with PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. That was a great feature. Some great games, too. Killzone Mercenaries, Uncharted Golden Abyss by Sony Bend. There was, and if you were a fan of JRPGs, it was a great system to play those. Had a lot of PS1 not backwards compatible, but you could buy a lot of PS1, PS2 games. I think
I played first time I played Persona 4 Golden was on that console.
a lot of people did. Yeah, I think if they. Oh, sorry, you cut out for a second.
I played the Jack and Daxter games, and I played the Ratchet and Clank games again because the HD collection was on the on the cartridge. It was a great form factor to play those games.
Yes. Yeah. So it was one of those like I said, nearly there. I think if they could ultimately fix the memory card, like if hindsight's 2020, but no memory card thing, get rid of the back touchpad, maybe add a HDMI out so you could plug it into your TV and play the games on the big screen. That would have been huge. And it was
Yeah.
the last of, which I am so grateful for, because I'm not a big handheld guy. I'm so grateful we were out of the era of like, here's Killzone Mercenaries, which is a different game to Killzone Shadowfall, right? Like now it's, you buy Breath of the Wild and it's a handheld and a console game and it's the same game and it is the
Yeah.
same game. And the new PlayStation handheld that's heavily rumored is likely to be the same as well. I love that because, I don't know, I think I'm a bit snobbish in the fact that I'm like, I game at home. I don't really take my games on the go. And I don't want to play the side version of whatever. I want to play the main one that's made by the team that I love. Not to say that some of those games weren't fantastic. Because like the God of War games on PSP, Ghost of Sparta and Chains of Olympus, Ready at Dawn did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like, I don't want to play Call of Duty Black Ops on the Nintendo DS. I want to play it on,
Yeah.
play
Exactly.
it on a proper console.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anything else, Vin?
But yeah, that's my little rant about the Vita.
Long live the Vita. Vita means life in Japanese. All right. Shall we wrap up? Did you have any other ones you wanted to touch on?
Oh, I thought you would touch on your
Yeah.
you go back and forth. So you do your
Yep.
you do your other one.
Yep.
And I feel we'll close with the one that we're both kind of
Yes.
holding out for.
Yes. This one I think could be pretty quick because it's fairly newish, and that is in terms of biggest mistakes, most expensive mistakes, Concord.
Yeah.
So again, I probably don't need to belabor the point too much, but it's pretty well spoken about. But Sony obviously is part of their big multiplayer push. Funded a team on a game called Concord. They liked the team so much that they ultimately went to purchase the team. And I'm just trying to remember if it's Firewalk or Fire Sprite because I mixed the two. Firewalk Studios. I don't know. They had at some point Sony owned teams that were Firewalk and Fire Sprite for some reason. That was very confusing. So yeah, Sony obviously saw something of interest in the team. Thought this game looks so good that we don't want this team to get away from us. When this game is successful, let's lock them down now. Apparently there was crossovers with. Do you remember there was the Amazon show that was revealed at the Game Awards, but it was like these 5 or 6 episodes based on video games?
Oh, Secret Level.
Secret Level. Apparently there was a dedicated Concord episode that was going to end with the reveal of a new character. So apparently they had like a whole merchandise thing. There's quotes which I don't know that are exactly real, but I think the understanding is that Herman Hulst was a massive fan of this game and thought it was going to be like the next Star Wars, apparently. I don't know if that was actually proven to be true, but regardless, was a massive fan of it, massive believer of the team. They purchased the studio. According to some leaks and insiders and things like that, reportedly the game cost, all up, including the acquisition of the team and the funding and things like that, $400 million to develop. And again, Sony purchased the team. They were that confident in the game before it launched. The game launched, and within 12 days, 2 weeks or so, it was recalled from sale, which I've never seen done before, physically and digitally. And I wish I purchased it just to have it. And the game was removed from the face of the earth, and this team ultimately shuttered. So in terms of gaming's biggest mistakes, I think this is ultimately Sony's biggest and most costly mistake they've ever made.
Yeah,
maybe besides maybe the PS3.
They were in debt a lot there. That was a bad generation. But how much money did they lose? I think it's like they lost like 200 million or something like that just for the actual.
Again, we don't know an exact number. Reportedly, it's up to $400 million if you include the purchase of the team itself, plus the development.
Yeah.
Plus,
okay. Yep.
Concord went through a weird development cycle where it was like co-funded by forgetting this third-party company, but they kind of like sought money from a third party. Sony kind of co-funded it, and then ultimately purchased out the other team that was funding it, then went to purchase the studio itself. I think they liked a lot of the talent because the talent was a lot of ex-Bungie. So all in all, from my understanding of the game itself, The first-person shooting aspects of it is fine, serviceable. People just had a lot of issues with the character design.
Okay.
Plus, there was the ultimate thing that all PlayStation multiplayer games face is your PlayStation. Why are you making this? But beyond all that, it hit kind of this wave of like the anti-woke movement that was going on, and there was a few characters in there that were suspect. Which, look, this might sound a controversial take, right? I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for everything, right? Whatever. However, if I am making a game, I would personally not go with the overweight person. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
This
person...
Go work or go broke.
Are we reasonably going to believe that this person is like an intergalactic fighter on the war front and looks like you could barely jog a kilometer? Like, realistically, right? I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes I just like... It's kind of like... I don't know if you saw the Horizon Hunter-Gathering multiplayer game that Guerrilla announced. I actually think looks fun and interesting. There was one character in there that people seemed to have issues with. Yeah. And that was like this big lady. Which I was like, oh, it's kind of funny because she's playing like the tank. Like, she's literally the tank character and it's Horizon, it's animated, whatever. But does no one just go like, guys, like, we can just avoid this conversation happening. Why are we doing this? Like, why do we need to have a very overweight character in this video game? Like, why?
Like, if you don't have inclusivity, then you're directly having exclusivity, and then people will then react to the fact that you're not being inclusive.
It's a Horizon, which is a made-up thing, multiplayer game. Yeah. With robot dinosaurs. I'm sorry. A giant T-Rex, robot T-Rex, is going to hunt down your fat ass. Alright?
Yeah.
You're not surviving a day. Maybe put down the bow and arrow. you know, maybe find another job in the camp, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. I don't have an issue if there was a game developed and the character is obese, alright? If that's the story that they want to tell, the character they want to make, fine. But something I do believe, as much as I see the anti-woke kind of like content conversation just disgusting and like, what are we doing? I'm just interested in as to how they landed on that specific character design and the reason they made that decision. If they really think we believe in this character, go for it. But something tells me that isn't the case.
I mean, the studio shutting down and recalling all their stuff, the character design must have not been something that the rest of the public agreed with.
Look, if I was making a game, I would just put boobs in it. I'm sorry, I would.
So you want God of War? God of War.
I mean, look what's going... Like, potentially, Santa Monica remaking these God of War games, it sounds like these are going to be more remakes than just, like, simply up-resing, like, more of a... I wouldn't say a Final Fantasy VII level remake, but more of a kind of from the ground up reimagining of the game. Are we going to have those scenes in there? And if those scenes aren't in there, not that I'm like, I need to see like boobies. It's just more to say like, that was the vision of the game that you guys made. Why is it changing?
Because the original creator of God of War wanted it to be like, you're playing a like metal album.
Yeah, David Jaffe.
The whole story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like, you want it to be, you know, just boobs and like fire and like metal. Like she wanted it to be like metal. You know what I mean?
And I just want to add, as we wrap this one up too, I'm not, like, just to be clear, I'm not against, but I honestly not. Like, I wasn't part of the crowd that was like, oh my God, Ellie's gay. Like, whatever, like, it's fine. It's fine. Be whoever you want, do whatever you want. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I don't really care. It's more that I do think it's a little suspect that some of these decisions were made. And what was the purpose behind those decisions if it is ultimately going to hurt the game? Like, does as a creative, if I'm, and as a sole creative, I might have a vision of a character that I want to create. Go do that. But there's also the counterbalance of, hey, I'm part of a 300-person team. I can't let my views solely dictate the look and feel of this video game. And I'm not saying it is one person, it is a team effort, and it ultimately got approved. But wouldn't, like, I don't know. As much as I don't care, I would just make my characters attractive just so I can avoid the conversation. Not even for a political play. Just because I don't want someone to post an AI edit of my character with makeup on. I'd be like, oh, you know what? Just make him handsome. Give her a big butt. Who cares, right? If the game's great, the game's great. And if the vision is like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's probably very controversial what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't even know if it is. Is it?
I don't know. But I think in the sense of what you're trying to say is like, if you're going to be a space, or if you're going to be like some kind of like space fighter, you know, like being like supposed to be really agile and stuff, have a character that would suit that, someone being agility based. If you're trying to do something that's going to be more like puzzle based and like the character can be like anything you want to be, turn-based game character can be anyone you want. But if you're trying to like sell the idea that this is going to be more of like be it Horizon, being out in the wild, foraging for your food, and hunting.
I will add an addendum to my comment though. I think just to be clear, I don't have an issue that that specific character is a big person. But think of like Overwatch, right? I've just opened up all the heroes. The characters don't need to be attractive. It's not what I'm saying. Like, there's literally a character in Overwatch that's hugely popular. There's a cat with a jetpack. But make the characters appealing. Yeah. It can't just be random guy with gun, overweight person with a baseball. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, make it... Like, in Horizon's defense, she's the tank character. Like, there's reasons why it kind of makes sense. Like, there's even a shot of her kind of, like, knocking down a whole row of enemies, kind of like a bowling ball. Like, that is kind of interesting. All I'm saying is, like... And it's hard because it's a creative field where it's like, you gotta be careful with this sort of stuff. And it's hard because part of me is like, no, screw that crowd that just do the whole AI edits of the characters and make them look pretty. No, screw them, right? Because most people aren't these supermodels. But there is a view of also, I'm creating a multiplayer shooter game where I want to have a selection of characters that not appeal in a sex appeal way, but are characters that someone wants to play as and role play as. Like, I want to be this character because this character's got the cool move and the cool weapon and the cool this. You have it upon you to make characters that are compelling for that reason, not based on their looks. So that's all. Controversy.
Yeah. And I'll it's all right. I'll live with this. Because, like, as you know, I'm a League of Legends player. I play League of Legends. The initial characters that started the game, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was like 6, 12, 18, 24. About 30 champions that started the game. We're now up to like 130. So the initial 30 were very different, very unique, very cool. Like, everyone had their own different lore. Everyone looked very different. Everyone looked very unique. And they all had different skill set. Everyone looked appealing to play.
Yeah. Not attractive, just appealing to play.
They looked cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the essence of that, we are gamers and we talk about this stuff. It's like, games are supposed to be fun and you're enjoying it because it looks cool. Like,
you want to be transported and you want to be the character, or you want to be like, this is cool.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. This is cool. I'm playing a game. I'm not playing a game, but like, this is boring. I don't want to play it anymore. I'm playing a game, being like, I'm enjoying what I'm playing. I want to keep playing it.
I don't want to play as an asthmatic. He's gonna get eaten by this giant T-Rex because I can't run away.
Die. Like, I don't want to play. What's his name? Carl from Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, it's funny. I happened to just open up an image because someone sent me something, and it was a photo of Golem, and it was some meme. That's a great example. If someone said to me, "Hey, we're gonna make a Lord of the Rings game," and I know there is a game called Golem, but you play as Golem, I instantly go, "What the? Like, I don't want to be Golem." It's the same reason, not because I want Golem to have like makeup on. But anyway, I digress. Vinny.
Yeah.
Please take the mic away.
It's all right. Yeah. Stop digging yourself a hole. I think we're going to go into the very last one, which we want to talk about, which is we both have stuff to say about this, and that is and this is where I think I'll say it right now. It's the Xbox One reveal.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
And this was probably the single worst thing Xbox as a company has ever done. They made all the wrong decisions at this press conference.
Mm-hmm.
TV, sports TV. Anybody? TV, TV. Xbox, go home.
TV.
Sports.
Television. TV.
And I was thinking about it, from looking back at it, being like, the Xbox 360 and the PS3, they were toe to toe. They were pretty close. Xbox 360 had a really big start, and then towards the end, PS3 beat them out in the end. But it was very close.
Yeah.
Extremely close. Then this reveal happens, and this was the worst generation to lose, because this means you had equal stakeholders in either camp. You then essentially throughout your
they lost
fans,
30 million of them, basically.
Yeah, and you pushed them to the other way.
Yep.
So I'll go with a couple of key points. One being you need to be constantly online to just use the damn thing. If you had bad internet, and then what was the CEO at the time? It was
Don Matrick.
Don Matric's like, we have a product for you if you have bad internet and you can't access the internet. It's called the Xbox 360.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Yeah, what a moment. That was with Jeff Keighley too.
Yeah. That was the interview post reveal. Oh my god. The worst. The DRM issue where you're like, you can't play used games. So there was that little skit that Shuhei did with sharing games. Is how you share your PS4 games.
With Adam Boys.
And it's like, yep. And it's like, hands a game. It's like, done.
Thanks.
You're like, perfect.
What a show.
And it was and the price was higher too. It was just the price was higher because you had to be forced to buy that Kinect that no one ever wanted to use in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So it came in even at a higher price than the PS4 and made all these poor decisions. So yeah, I mean, let's go. You'll talk about that shit Kinect. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I think that's. I think you covered a lot of the main points. But yeah, we spoke about at the start, like Phil Spencer's legacy. He recovered a lot of this and had to decouple the Kinect, walk back the DRM, deal with all the Don Matrick stuff, and then move from there. But yeah, the Xbox One reveal was. I remember watching it live, and then it was the IGN post show, and just. Everyone being like, what was that? Because if you remember, there was actually 2 showings of the Xbox One. The first one at the Microsoft campus was all focused on TV. And apparently the idea was, they thought, this ain't so bad because we have a second show and we're talking about, Rise, Son of Rome and all the games. You probably should have put the game show first and then maybe had a side thing talking about the TV stuff. But again, Microsoft being ahead of the ball in some parts, but too far ahead in others, saw, based on their data, which is fair enough, that a lot of 360 users were starting to use their console to watch YouTube and Netflix and things like that. So, I don't know why my voice is going there, I'm getting all emotional. So let's focus on sports integration and let's create a partnership with the
Media
National
streaming.
Football League and do a whole bunch of different things. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. I can't. My voice is
all right. But I remember because I actually did watch the entire thing today in preparation for this podcast.
That's funny.
And then I watched the PS4 reveal, which is because PlayStation were on next.
Yeah.
They were so Xbox went first, then Sony went afterwards, and you just see. I can't remember the person who came out on stage,
Jack Tretton.
but he had this grin.
Yeah.
He had this grin about him, being like, "It's over,
Jackie
like,
T.
We've won.
Yeah.
We've absolutely destroyed this console, and we haven't even released it yet." And they actually had little, like they fit in last minute slides, being like, "Supports used games." And little things like that they added into the show.
Yeah.
Like after that reveal, they added little last minute slides. And that entire time, he's got this massive smirk on his face. Like watching, like as he's telling us, like, yeah, like he knows in the back of the head, we've won this. We've won this show. We've done it. Like everyone's going to come to us. And then it was, I think 9 days later, Microsoft Xbox backpedaled on the DRM. So they released an article saying it's not going to be chronically online. You're not going to have to, you can share games. We're actually going to support, used games in the secondhand market again.
Yeah.
But the damage was done. That was it. Like you could not, it was like you did it on the big world stage for gaming. Like you can't recover from that. And I think that is Microsoft's biggest mistake. And I feel like they still have not recovered from that.
Yeah.
It's led to poor sales for the Xbox One. It's led to poor sales for the Xbox Series X and 360. It's led to this whole Game Pass, anything's an Xbox.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been all downhill from there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Jack Tretton.
yeah.
I knew as soon as you said smug. I'm like, yeah, that was Jackie T. I remember that. Yeah.
Jackie T.
Jackie T. What an error. Anyway. All right. My voice is back. I don't know what happened there. I apparently talk a lot. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's a great way to just wrap up. Oh, well, Vinny, This has been, it's funny, we're talking about like, all right, we're going to try to do this and we condense and, here we are an hour and 45 minutes later, but what a great episode if I don't say so myself. So Vinny, thank you so much
been fun.
for jumping on and joining us yet again. A lot of interesting topics. Again, if you're new here, please, I beg you, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dodge, Parry, and Roll. You can find us on YouTube fortnightly every Friday. Every second Friday. Got to get that right. Every second Friday on YouTube. So please subscribe and let us know in the comments below, what do you think were some of the biggest video game mistakes? Was it my take on woke culture? Perhaps. Am I going to get cancelled? Perhaps. And if it happens, we had a run. We had a good run.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's actually get up to a fan base where we can get cancelled. That's what I want to be.
That's
I
the
want to
goal.
be that level of famous. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's just like, well, no one heard me say it, so it doesn't really matter. But this could be one of those things where it's like we get there one day, and then it's like they pulled this out of the archives. Like someone went back and watched all the old episodes. Anyway, I didn't say anything too insulting, so get over yourselves.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm fine. Anyway, all right, that's enough. Vinny, thank you so much. Send us off.
May the power protect you.
Goodbye.